Hey everyone, Alex here from Japanese Masters, and today we're going to go over a bit of JLPT in 3 grammar. We're going to cover okage da and seida. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. As you can see here, we have okage da and seida, and these can be added onto the end of any verb, noun, e-adjective, or non-adjective. The first thing I really want to go over is that these both are considered nouns in Japanese, which means that normal noun modification rules apply. We'll go over that in a little while though. If we want to translate this to English, these basically translate to thanks to and because of. Now, this one, okage da, translates to thanks to, while seida translates to because of. And the first one is usually used in a positive sense, while the second one is usually used in a negative sense. Let's go ahead and break down these structures so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. The first one we have is our verb. This is the V in this grammar structure. Now, this is going to be a verb in plain form, just like any verb you would attach to a noun with noun modification. The same with noun. It's going to be any noun with a no after it, just like any normal noun modification. E-adjectives and non-adjectives are both the same as well. You just have your plain E-adjective, and then you have your non-adjective with the na after it. Okay, and now we move on to okage da. This is where the grammar structure starts to get interesting. Okage da basically translates to thanks to, and is used in a positive sense. An example of this would be something like, thanks to John, we got the report done. As you can see, the sentence has an overall positive connotation to it. You are saying that due to John's hard work, his dedication, something that John did, this report was able to be completed. Okay, now if we want to go to the opposite of that, then we have seida. This translates to because of, or it can even be thanks to, but in a sarcastic way, and it's negative. This is saying that thanks to or because of the person, something didn't happen or a negative outcome happened. One final thing I want to note is that you see this is da here and da here. If you want to use this in the middle of a sentence, this da usually changes to day. If you want to use it at the end of the sentence, then it says this da or des or whatever you want to use to end it with. Okay, let's go and go through a couple of examples so that you really cement this idea into your brain. The first example is, thanks to John, we won. This would be John-san no okage de kachimashita. Now, as you can see here, we have our John-san, or John, and for basic noun modification rules, after a noun, we have to add the no. So the no is here. Then, after that, we have our okage de. So, who are we thanking? We are thanking John. And of course, we have san as the polite name ender in Japanese. And then, like I said before, this is not at the end of the sentence, so this is de, not da. And then we have our simple verb for to win, kachimashita. I hope you're starting to see that although this looks complicated at first, this really isn't that hard of a concept. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next example. Our next example is, thanks to John, we lost. Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is, didn't we just learn that we should use seide here if we want to say that it is a negative connotation? Yes, we should. However, I wanted to highlight something very specific here with this grammar structure. I wanted to highlight that okage de can also be used in a negative sense. However, it's used in a sarcastic negative sense, very much like it's used in English, where you'd say like, thanks to John, we lost. However, when using this in Japanese, this one actually has a stronger negative feeling than seide would. So if you had a hierarchy, you'd have okage de as the positive, then you'd have seide as a negative, and then you'd have okage de again as even more negative if you wanted to be sarcastic or really criticize the person. Okay, other than that, basically everything is the same. We have our noun modification again. We have our John-san again. The only difference we have, however, is that we have makemashita instead of kachimashita. Makemashita, of course, being to lose. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next example. The example is, I couldn't pass the test because I couldn't sleep last night. Kino nerare nakatta sei de testo wo gokaku dekinakatta. Okay, let's go ahead and start breaking this down. The first thing is that we have our kino, which is yesterday, or in this sense, I kind of used it as last night. And then we have our nerare nakatta. It's the past tense and the potential form of neru, which is to sleep. So that is, I couldn't sleep. And then here's where we get to our seide, because of or thanks to, in a negative way. Now, yet again, this verb follows normal noun modification rules. It is in plain form and in the past form, and then right after that, you just go ahead and attach the seide. Also, it is not at the end of the sentence, so it is de and not da. And then after that, we have the outcome that is due to whatever preceded seide. and that is that we could not pass the exam. Testo, of course, is test, and then gokaku is pass in Japanese, and dekinakata means could not or cannot. So overall, the sentence is saying yesterday could not sleep because of test couldn't pass. So even though the sentence looked pretty complicated at first, I hope you're seeing that it's really not that complicated. All I did was just add a couple more words to make it look longer and more complicated. But yet again, this is the same rules as before, except now we're seeing that it's negative. Because you couldn't sleep, you couldn't pass the exam. That's a negative outcome. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next example. The next example is, this meal is thanks to him. Here I wanted to use something where you could actually use the da at the end. So let's break this sentence down. We have kono shokuji wa kare no okage desu. As you can see, kono, of course, is this. When attached to a noun, kore becomes kono. And then we have shokuji, which means meal. And then we have our normal copula, which is the wa and des. And then we have normal noun modification rules, again, just like before. We have kare, and because kare is a noun, you have to add no before attaching it to okage. And then this time, we have okage, because it's thanks to, it's in a positive sense, but it is at the end of the sentence. So instead of using de, we're going to use da, but I want to make it more polite, so we're going to use des instead. So overall, this sentence is directly saying, this meal is thanks to him, which basically translates exactly how it does in English. That is basically the lesson today. The real main takeaways you need to have from this is that okage de and seide are used in the same instances, except for one is positive and the other is negative. And the positive one can sometimes be negative if you want to be really sarcastic or condescending. I hope you found this lesson really useful. I know that when I started learning this, I was completely confused by these, and I hope that you're not as confused as I was. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. If you have any criticisms, also put those in the comments below, and I'd be happy to address them. Until next time, guys, keep studying Japanese. All right, everyone, see ya.